the desert playing some golf at Mission Hills Country Club with our buddy Marcelo. If this whole poker thing doesn't work out, I think I'll try my luck on the PGA Tour. After hitting some golf balls through a few house windows, we head over to Agua to punish some fish. We time it perfectly as I called in an hour and a half before and walked right into my name being second up. We're into the 1-3 game for $300. Let's go. First in a note, we look down at a6 of hearts from the big blind. There's a bunch of limps to me and I raise it up to $14. I think a6 suited here is good enough for a raise. I don't want to be going too multi-way here to the flop. That's exactly what happens though. We get 3 callers, so going 4 ways to the flop. With $56 in the pot, the flop comes ace deuce 3 with 2 spades. Pretty good board for our exact hand. A lot of the limp callers will have some spade flush draws as well as some gutters to some straight draws as well. We're going against 3 other opponents though, so I like to start with a check here, and the middle position takes up the action and bets $32. Everybody gets out of the way, and with the top pair here, and given the way we played it on the flop, a call is the only way we should continue here. That's what I do, and we're off to the turn. 110 in the pot, the turn pairs the 2, comes a deuce of clubs. Shouldn't really change too much here. I don't expect him to have too many 2s in his range, but if I'm behind and he has a better ace, I don't really want to be leading into him here. I decide to go for a check and see what he does. With 110 in the pot, he decides to make an over half pot size bet here for $60. I think there's a chance he could have a better ace here given that he bet twice on the flop and the turn. I think there's also a chance he could have some straight and definitely some flush draws here on this board, and just continuing to bet, putting pressure on my hands when I check the flop. He only has around $60 more, 120 total here. And if I call this bet on the turn, I'm pretty much pot committed on the river. So let's just say he had a draw like a straight draw or a flush draw and misses on the river. If I end up checking, he'll probably just check behind it and we'll miss some value. For that reason, and given the fact that I played my ace pretty slow here after the flop, I decided to put him all in and hope that he has a draw here and not a better ace. River comes the 8 of spades, which is pretty much the worst card because it brings in the front door flush draw. We're behind all better aces, and now we're behind most draws. I turn over my ace-6 and he turns over ace-10. He did have the 10 of spades in his hand, which blocks some of the flush draws. Looks like it's going to be an uphill battle from here. We're starting off with the first hand being a loss. We add on for an additional $170 and we look down at king queen on the button. I raise it up to $14 and we get 4 callers, so no shortage of action here at Agua Caliente. We're going 5 ways to the flop. Flop's a pretty great one for us, gives us 2 pair, comes ace king queen. There is some possibility that other players have some better hands like jack 10, although I think it's important to discredit a lot of the sets and better 2 pairs like ace king and ace queen, given the fact that we blocked those hands, but also I think they'd be 3-betting us pre-flop, so it's a pretty good chance here we have the best hand. We're on the button and we expect the action to check to us, but it's strange when the big blind now donks out for $8. Even more strange is the cutoff doesn't call and doesn't fold. He raises it up to $22 and we're in an interesting spot here. If we come in for another raise here, it looks very, very strong, and we're probably just going to get a bunch of folds from hands that we beat and only get called by hands that beat us. For that reason, I just decided to put in the call. The only downside to this is it's going to bring in some more people for that good price. I just don't think another raise here accomplishes too much. As long as we can fade an ace, a jack, or a 10 on the turn, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. The small blind puts in the cold call and the big blind does as well, so we're going 4 ways to the flop here with 2 pair. Turn now comes the 3 of clubs and we expect the action to check to the cutoff, who decided to go for that $22 raise on the turn. This hand is strange, and it gets even more strange when the big blind now just leads out again for $34. You would think in his shoes he would just check it over to the cutoff, given the fact that the cutoff shows a lot of strength so far and there's 2 other people calling, but when the big blind bets out for $34 here, it's pretty strong. The cutoff thinks so as well, and he just puts in a flat call. I'm not going to be raising here again. When the big blind donks out twice and now the cutoff calls the $34, I don't really think a raise accomplishes too much. I'm going to put in the call here and see what the small blind does. The small blind has finally had enough of this hand and he gets out of the way, so with 2 pair we're going 3 ways to the river. 256 in the pot, the river comes a blank, it comes the 7 of spades. The only hand that really gets there is ace 7, now beating our 2 pair. We're not really too worried about that though. The big blind rips it all in now for $120 and the cutoff gets out of the way. I think really the only hand that has us beat here is jack 10, given the way the big blind played this hand. That is the nuts, that's Broadway, and if he has that, he's going to have to show us. I didn't come all the way to agua here to flop 2 pair and then fold on the river for an all-in. So we flick in 1 chip indicating a call and we wait to see what the opponent shows. He turns over ace-8 for just 1 pair. That's no good, sir. We turn over king-queen for our 2 pair. Finally, some good news here at agua. We shipped that $496 pot. He definitely overplayed that hand, and on the turn, he should just be checking to the cutoff. Interesting to see how that hand would have played out if the cutoff checked to me on the turn. I'm definitely firing for a small bet there, but no sense in going over how this hand could play differently. I'm happy with the W. After winning that big hand, we look down at pocket 9s from the big blind. Action folds around to the button, who raises it up to $10. This is a pretty standard play here. The button's going to be raising a wider than normal range when it folds to him. For that reason, pocket 9s is going to be ahead of that range a good portion of the time, so I should be going for a 3-bet here. Given the fact that I'm out of position, I want to size up a little bit and disincentivize him to call. I make it $34. The button doesn't fold and he doesn't put in the additional $24. Instead, he makes it $455 and all in. We have him covered, so it's effective $455, but this play is just way too strong. He could be putting a lot of pressure on us, just thinking we're doing this pretty wildly, but $455 with pocket 9s isn't the way I wanted to get my stack in here. Let's pick a different spot. Let's just fold this hand. I fold my hand and he shows pocket aces, so nice hand, sir. Definitely played that way too fast. Probably should just be making it like 80 bucks, and I'd probably put in the call there and try to set mine, but oh well, he's going to take down that pot. At this point, I get asked to stop filming, which is one of the struggles that poker vloggers have at casinos where they don't ask for permission. Agua Caliente has always been my second home. Most of my videos on my channel are from there. All the dealers like me, all the floor members like me, and they're just doing their job, but I'm going to see if I can't get a few more hands for you guys here under the radar. We put in the straddle here in this next hand, and we look down at 10-9 offsuit. There's 4 callers to me, and I decide to check my options, so going 5 ways to the flop. Flop comes 10 high, it's 10-4-3 with 2 diamonds, and the small blind leads out for $8. Given the fact that I flop top pair here, I put in the $8, and the hijack does as well. That brings in the cutoff as well, and we're going off to the turn. $62 in the pot, the turn comes the 7 of clubs, and the small blind doesn't slow down. He now bets for $12. We still have top pair on this board, and there's not really too much we're scared of. We could be raising against some flush draws, but with 3 other opponents in the hand, I think a call is just the best play, and both other opponents, the cutoff and the hijack, both put in the call as well. 110 in the pot, 4 ways to the river, it comes to 6 of clubs. Puts a 4-liner out there to the straight. Small blind doesn't slow down again, and he bets $24. Puts us in an interesting spot because there's 2 other opponents behind us. They were slow playing a 2-pair type of hand. They could just come in for a raise after we smooth call, which puts us in a really weird spot. Given the fact there's 2 other opponents behind us, and the small blind has decided to bet all 3 streets into 3 other opponents, I think a fold here is fine. We only have a top pair with a 9 kicker. I get out of the way and fold my cards. The hijack puts in the call and the cutoff folds. Sure enough, the small blind shows 5-6 offsuit for the turn straight. He had the open ender on the flop and then drills the straight with the 7 of clubs. He didn't really need the 6 of clubs on the river, but oh well, he's going to take down that $158 pot. What's a vlog without pocket jiggities? We're on the button and there's 3 limps to me. I raise it up to $15 here, and the under the gun and the hijack both put in the call, so going 3 ways to the flop. With $52 in the pot, the flop's pretty terrible. It comes ace, king, 8, rainbow. There's 2 overcards to our jacks, but the action checks over to us. Even though this is a very bad board for our exact hand, it's a very good hand for our exact range. The other 2 opponents should have shown more strength pre-flop if they had strong aces or kings in their range. For that reason, I decided to make a $12 bet here in position, just looking to take it down on the flop. Sure enough, that's exactly what happens. The under the gun and the hijack both get out of the way. This is a good example here of betting your range instead of your exact hand, as my range was a lot more nutted in that situation than theirs was. I get called out for taking a picture again this time, but this time it's by a player and not by the floor. Told the player that when I make a video, I never put anyone's faces in it, and I needled him a little bit by saying, I don't want to see your face on the video, and my viewers sure don't either. I'm giving you this info because this next hand I play against that exact same player. I'm in the straddle again and I look down at ace 10 offsuit. Cutoff raises me to $16 and it folds back around to me, And given the fact we just had a little bit of needling going on with this player and there's a little bit of tension, I decided to stick in the $10 with a good hand like ace-10 offsuit, and we're off to the flop. Flop comes 9-6-8, so we flop a gutter to the straight. Any 7 would be very much appreciated on the turn. I start with a check here, looking to see what the cutoff does, and he checks it back. Turn's a pretty good card without directly improving our hand. It comes a jack of hearts. Now any 7 or any queen will probably give us the best hand here. With ace high here, I might have some showdown value, and I'm just looking to get to a cheap river. For that reason, I start with a check, and now the cutoff bets $20. I don't really believe him here. If he's not betting the flop, what is he betting here on the turn that has us beat? Maybe a hand like queen jack or king jack could make some sense after checking back the flop and making a hand on the turn. He bets $20 here, and he only has around 60 more behind. I think this is a good spot to put some pressure on him here, and if he doesn't have a hand here, he's probably just going to get out of the way and fold. If he has a hand that has one pair, like a 9 or an 8 or a jack, it could put a lot of pressure on him here and get him to fold a better hand. Also, we do have the 10 of diamonds here, blocking a lot of the straights, being 7-10 and 10 queen. For that reason, I like my play here, putting them all in, and we still have a pretty good hand here if we get called. That's exactly what happens. He puts in the additional $60 and we're off to the river. River is a miracle card for us. It comes the queen of clubs. Sure enough, he showed one of those hands that had us beat. It was a queen jack offsuit, so we ended up turning a pair and betting it for value, calling off my shove there and then rivering 2 pair, but he did not want to see the queen of clubs there. Amazing card for us. He's frustrated about it, and we take down our nemesis there who didn't want us to film. We're going to show this video to the viewers anyway. Nice hand, sir. Nice hand. To be fair though, he was a nice guy, so in case he ends up watching this video, cheers to you if you're watching. We end on a winning note here. We're getting a lot of heat for filming, so we rack up our chips and head to the cage. That does it for us here at Agua Caliente. Interesting session. We got called out for filming and photography twice, but I respect their opinion. I kept everyone's faces out of it, and shout out to the floor for doing their job. We got into the game for $470 after we rebought for $170. Got out of the game for $572, so a profit of $102. If you guys like this video, be sure to click the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new, leave a comment down below, and as always, good luck on the tables, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace! Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.